Railing in because we are the people to listen to.
We are the people to listen to. Hi, guys. It's Tina and Nicole, and today we're going to be talking about online auction sites that you can source and purchase from for your reselling business, really on any platform you sell. It's not a one-size-fits-all when we're doing auction sites or items that are not necessarily brand new retail arbitrage, because you can list those kind of things on, you can flip them on besides just eBay, Etsy, Mercari, Poshmark. If you even have your own Shopify store, I see people doing eBay stores linked also to their Shopify. They sell on both. Whatnot sales, you can be flipping it on. Where else? Even Facebook Marketplace, if I didn't already say that one.
Whatnot is an auction site. We didn't even discuss that before we went live, but there you go.
Because you can source on Whatnot to flip on eBay. And I've been wanting to do that when I get all caught up with everything that I'm working on around here. So I'm excited about it. I know you do so much auction buying and driving and picking up, and I'll definitely let you get carried away with that. I have been new to the auction game. You know, this is what I call my life after eBay. And so I've been doing a local auction here, and we've been going about once a week to do some pickups. The items I'm getting are brand new items. So I'm getting brand new Amazon return items. And I mean, so brand new, they're still in their packaging. I bought these pull filters that sell on Amazon. These are current listings on Amazon. They sell for $59 for the set of two. It's like a pool spa filter, and I got them for $2.99. And so I have the description, the information, everything right off of Amazon, and I use that information to easily make my eBay listing. And on eBay in the solds, these filters are going for roughly $30. So it's a big discount for them from Amazon. And here for me, I'm still going to make money because I got them for $3. So we do have some auction sites to share. Before we dive into all of them, why don't you share your recent auction buy? And hi, Reno, I see you in the chat.
Hey, Reno. Yeah, so auctions are my favorite. Whether they're in person or online. There is a local auction house that I love that has a lot of what I like to sell, which is very important to me. And we just went today and picked up 250 items from there. And they consistently have the items I'm looking for. So I'm able to with it being local, beat out a lot of people because my fee to pay in like check or cash knocks 5% off from everyone else, and then they don't have to pay shipping, and being tax free as well is helpful.
Now, can you pay with your credit card at this particular place?
You can. There would be a fee to do so, as the standard is a lot of places now. So I always just pay with a check, and I get the lowest buyer's premium at that rate, and especially then just picking the items up.
So those are good tips who maybe don't know. If you don't read the fine print, sometimes on those websites, sometimes they just tell you straight up. Other times you really need to look at that fine print. Mine also has, there is like this fee. It's I forgot the percentage now from the auction site I've been buying from, and no matter how you pay, it's just like their little auction fee. And we do free pickup also, and I love it because you schedule your pickup. And so when I go there, they come right out to my car. They ask your name because all the other people that are out there for their pickups. And because I scheduled it, my stuff is already like ready to go. And so it's funny because they'll take like the pile of the things I get, and they like do packing tape all around it. But I pull in and pull out of that parking lot in 5 minutes or less.
Oh, that's awesome. Ours is a really big auction house, and they have a restaurant and everything. You can eat there. Wow. It's a whole thing. And so we will make a thing of it. We'll either hit a restaurant on the way or we'll eat there. And then what I like is now that they know who I am and they value my business, I get a lot of sneak peeks into what is up and coming. and kind of have some insider scoop on that. So relationships are important.
So do you want to hear about your big haul where you went out of state, or not really?
Yeah, no, I love talking about it. So
Everything.
Yeah. So I'm in this this Facebook group for like eBay sellers or whatever, and this guy posted a couple months ago that he bought this massive collection, and I was like, oh, that's mine. So I messaged him, and I didn't say that, but I was like, hey, if you want to sell this in bulk, let me know. And we went back and forth a little bit, and we didn't come to an agreement, but I saw he was trying to sell it on Whatnot and trying to sell it in the Facebook groups and all these things. So I kind of just sat back and waited, and he reached out to me a few times. And so we made a smaller deal where he shipped me some items, about 600 items, and I was happy with that. And how much was shipping?
Yeah, how much was shipping 600 items to you? And
he charged me $100 to cover the PayPal goods and service fees and shipping for the 600 items. So it was very reasonable. It worked out to, my cost was around 14 cents per item additional because of that, which I could handle.
Nothing.
Yeah, nothing. So then we had the opportunity to come up to go to Tennessee this past week. And I hit him up and I said, hey, I can come down, and we negotiated a price on a bunch of stuff and about 3,000 items. And I took the trailer down and went to his warehouse on his property, got to look at all his things that he has to sell. He let me just like basically pick. I got to pick his store, which was so much fun. And while my husband counted up stuff and loaded it into the trailer, I was doing some more shopping, and so that makes the road trip experience fun. We get to write off a lot of that. We were close to the aquarium down there, so we went to the aquarium. We just make a day and an event of it, and so now I have a trailer full of things, which I would say, oh man, I'm just creating more work for myself, but it's what I love doing.
Hi, Brian. I see you over there in the chat.
Hi, guys.
Yeah, so you did 92 of those on eBay today, but I'm assuming you've already sold some on Whatnot this week, because it did pop up on my phone that you were doing live Whatnots.
I did do a Whatnot on Saturday, I think it was, and that went okay, but I had kind of poor internet service, which is important when you're doing a live auction. And then today, while we were driving to pick up our other auction finds, I was able to list 92 items because I took my pictures before we leave, and then have my husband drive me around. So
I love it. This is why I love, whether you're married or you're dating or you just have a friend, just having that partner in crime with you doing stuff is awesome, because while you're getting to shop, he's doing the counting and the packing and the trailer. And I love couples that support each other. And I love the guys that are out there that let us girls just like do it, and just us. And I love it.
He loads all my stuff up, and we leave on Thursday for a camping trip, and it's to go to a show, a toy show, and we're going to see what we can find. We're only going to take the Suburban this time, though, and we do have our 2 kids with us, so I might have to be a little, I'll probably have to shop a little less.
So I'm going to share my screen for us to jump right into some auction sites. And some of these auction sites can be great because all of us can shop on them, and you ideally want to choose your city or the nearest place to you, so you can either, 1, save on shipping if it has to be shipped, or number 2, not pay for shipping at all when you can just go and pick it up. There are so many ways to source big bulk stuff at auctions, or like you say, if you join Facebook groups dedicated to the kind of thing you love. I know that I haven't looked in the group in a long time because I've been not very active on Facebook recently, but there is a group that I love because they had vintage sheets, like the sheets from 60s and 70s, and I love all that funky old colorful, bright stuff. So people will buy and sell their old sheets on there. Now, I didn't join the group to actually buy any of them, but I joined it because one, I love looking at that stuff, and it helps me know when I'm outsourcing, like, oh, this kind of sheet is good, or kind of bedding is good for flipping. I love selling old bed sheets. They do sell well. So
That's so interesting.
Yeah, you can join Facebook groups for anything that you're interested in learning. Plus, you can know what people are out there wanting to buy. I know some years back, those LOL dolls that everyone was collecting that came out of the, the balls that had those little LOL dolls in them. Then people were getting them because it was a mystery what was inside. And there were Facebook groups for people who were selling the doll inside. And then you got to learn what was the coveted doll. And so you would be looking for those. So
I do have a crazy side story.
Yeah.
So I listed an item today and it sold within 5 minutes, and I couldn't find any comps on it. And so I looked, I search completed and saw like the most one it sold for was like $600. So I listed mine for $700, and clearly I should have listed it for more is my guess. But
then you're like, but I still made so much money. So
right. My cost was $8. So my cost was $8, flipped it for $700. And, but right after that, I joined a bunch of the groups for that item. And I was like, what's the stall worth? And not, that person can have it for $700, but I was genuinely curious. I was like, how, and now I know. I'm like,
okay, what that item is, so then I can start sourcing my area for this $8, $700 flip.
It was crazy.
That's funny. All right. So I am going to share my screen. So I'm logged out, but I do have an account with Macy's liquidation. So this is one site, and this is great. Macy's liquidation. It is free to get an account. You do have to submit a little bit more paperwork to get approved into Macy's liquidation. I did mine years ago. And if you get into Macy's liquidation, these they're auctions, if you will, of buying clothes, shoes, purses, anything that Macy sells. You get manifested lists of what you are bidding on. And they generally like to categorize their things like, children's winter clothing, children's spring clothing, ladies' designer clothing or dresses. And you get the idea. They'll group like items together, and then you can shop down their manifested sheets. It includes the title of the item, the UPC code, the size, how many you're getting, the retail value. And so it does give you time to look these things up if you maybe aren't familiar with all that's in there. Obviously, not everything in the box is going to be a solid win, but you want enough solid wins that it's worth it for you to purchase these items. So these can be really great flips if you're selling on Poshmark, Mercari, and eBay. So I get emails from them and have for years to be able to purchase from them. So that is one site I wanted to share.
Question on this site. So do they sell like designer handbags and things like that there? Because I see people on Whatnot in like the designer handbag category. I have zero interest in selling them, but I always wonder where they get them at.
Yeah, and they do sell them. You can get the designer handbags from the Macy's liquidation. Okay, so
can you look at completed on there?
Huh?
Can you look at completed on the Macy's liquidation site?
I'm not sure. I'll quit sharing my screen at some point, and hopefully on this computer it will memorize my password from my other computer. I've never logged on to Macy's from this one, so and I don't know the password by heart. Otherwise, I would be logged in and we could take a look. If I had been more prepared, we could have done that. So Proxibid is another auction website that you can shop from. Now, obviously, we're not going to be selling farm equipment or commercial trucks, but hey, maybe you are. Maybe you're going to be doing things like that from your state if you've got the property to sell the big things. But these are all of the different categories they have. And there are people out there that flip big stuff. So I was trying to go down. Look, we can even get into livestock.
It is very easy to upload your tax exempt to this site. I like the user interface of this one a lot.
Now, do you have a favorite category that you like on here?
Yes. So I will typically search something. So like if you go up to the top and search like just do like ephemera.
A what?
So EPH.
I thought that was always called like Ephemia. Do I have that? No, that's wrong.
EPHER. Now I'm going to second guess myself. Hold on. I don't know why I picked that. Let's pick something different. Let's do action figures, for example, or trading cards or something simple like that.
I wouldn't properly pronounce what I call Ephemia.
Ephemera.
I love that.
Ephemera.
It's like the old vintage postcards and things like that for people who don't know. Okay.
So when I search this, I sort this by ending soonest, probably.
Here. So
but yeah, and then I see where it has like item location. That's a good tool to use over there. You can see. So, and also in searching, it says items. I love to look at events.
Okay.
Or search by state, things like that.
One of those things where I was saying, like, depending where you live, because I will always complain, like, I can't get all this good stuff. I'm in the state of Nevada. There is one thing here. If you lived in New Jersey, you've got 102 things here. If you're in California, which I could drive there, there's 186. Now, I know that this changes all the time, but I've noticed some consistency. So like you're in Ohio, we have 36 items. So if you were going to do this, you're going to look at what's in Ohio, ideally, right? Because you'll pay for shipping if it's worth it. But ideally, you want to look at what can I go pick up.
Right. And when I do this, when I get into the groove of where I'm doing stuff like this from sites, I have a Google spreadsheet where I will keep track of like what I paid for everything and what their phone number is and when I bought from them and then what shipping was. And then I'll put a note of if I was happy with shipping or without. Because for a long time, I didn't do anything with this stuff. And then I was like, the only way I'm going to know how it is if I just try it. And my shipping experiences were pretty well. I put in my spreadsheet too, how much their like fees are and if they charge taxes and things like that. And several times I've reached out to the auction company if they're not clear to verify that before I bid.
Okay. And then you just go through here. I mean, obviously, like any of us would, we all know how to research. We're going, if we don't know the thing right away, like, oh, I know that this sells really, really well. My gut instinct says that this Batman from 1974 would be a good seller. And of course, it's got the highest amount of bidders. But you need to vet and do your research so you know what your max cost that you can purchase it for to still profit would be. You always want to make sure you do that first. So that way, if I knew that as high as I could go on this is $40, I'm only going to let it go up to 40. If now someone outbid me at 41, you got to walk away.
Yeah. You got to take that emotion out of it.
Yeah. Is there anything else we should share on this site before I move on to our next one?
If you click on one of those, the information that, yeah. If you click on one of those, the information that you're going to need from the auction site is going to be there. And you can see it where it says either terms of sale or where it says see special terms for additional fees. Either of those are going to tell you what you need to know.
So there's the internet premium at 18%.
So you have to have a valid credit card.
Yep. And so but you would have already registered all of this stuff. So and it's like, as far as payment instruction, internet buyers premium 18%. Well, obviously everyone's going to be an internet buyer because that's where your auction is.
Yes. And then I always check the shipping instructions. So sometimes it'll be in-house shipping. Sometimes it'll be pickup only. And sometimes they will send it to like the local UPS store. And I have had luck with when it goes to the local UPS store of providing my own shipping label.
Okay. Now I don't see anything about shipping here.
Yeah. So if you scroll down just a little bit.
Shipping instructions says it's not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So a third-party shipper will reach out to winning bidders to arrange shipping at buyer's expense. So they're the third-party shipper or whatever probably picks up the items from the auction house and then reaches out to you to figure all that out.
Okay. And I like how it does give you the number. And especially if we make good friends with Joe Disher there, he may call us ahead of time.
Yes.
Isn't that your experience with some of the people you've been dealing with?
They are very responsive, and it typically does work out, in my experience, the way that I expected to based on the information that's provided.
Okay. Should we move on to the next one? Is that the last of?
That's the last of it.
Okay. Now, this one is ShopGoodwill.com. So, I have mixed feelings with Goodwill auctioning off and buying things on Goodwill. This guy did a really great video. I cannot remember his name, where he actually got to interview the man that was running the warehouse at one of these Goodwills, who was in charge of putting the items that are donated to Goodwill on this website. And the guy had even said that that Goodwill is not wanting us, people like us, being able, well, I don't want to say being able to buy from them, but we're not their audience. They are wanting it to get the highest price, and that's why they put it on auction. That's why they price it high in the store. They are trying to make sure that they don't miss any of these items that they're pricing. So it is a love-hate relationship with Goodwill, that's for sure. So a lot of times, when we do find that really good thing in store, that's why we just got lucky that somebody missed it and put it out there and just didn't know, because all Goodwill donation centers are putting the best of the stuff on this auction site. Now there's two Goodwill sites. So this is shopgoodwill.com, but then there's another one. There's two Goodwill ones I know that you can purchase from.
Goodwill Finds, and that's a buy it now.
Yes, that's right. Goodwill Finds, and then Shop Goodwill. I know our thumbnail said 5 auction sites, but obviously we're doing more. So what is your strategy with shopgoodwill.com?
So when I first started on Shop Goodwill, we picked a category, and we noticed that a lot of auctions end between 7 and 10 p.m. And so it would be in the evening, and it was cold outside, and my husband and I would sit down, and as the auctions were ending, we were like, last second, they'd have like a couple minutes left. We were looking stuff up, and we were, we'd figure in the shipping cost or whatever. And if it was a good deal, we would buy it. And it was so much fun. And then all these boxes came and that was okay, except for I had to go on a buying break so that I could get all that listed. And so now I have particular items that I check, and I have a Google Doc, and in the morning I have links to each of the things that I check that I'm looking for whatever it is I'm into. And so I do some like Christmas shopping, things like that, things that I want to resell, whatever it is. And I'll look at what's ending soonest, like that day. I take it one day at a time. And if there's anything I want, I'll throw a bid in. And if I win it, cool. And if not, not a big deal. That's pretty much my strategy.
Okay.
And even with shipping, you can get deals. Deals can be had.
It is a bit harder to find them on here, though. Don't you agree? On Shop Goodwill specifically?
Yeah, you're not getting those $3, like what you're winning at your local place. Yeah. You're not getting that. So if it's really something you want to sell, you're going to pay up. But one time there were these Beyblades, and they were going for a boatload. And I was like, why are these going for a boatload? And I looked, and I think it said there were so many Beyblades. They were all new in the package. But when I counted based on the pictures, there was actually more. And I think a lot of people didn't catch that. And I was able to win that auction and did really well with it, because sometimes what the title says and what the pictures are different. And so I have made money on that as well.
I know a lot of people buy the cameras and Tiffany. I always look at Tiffany when I come on here just because. And then the Janko jeans, the JNCO. Those are like the coveted jeans that are really hot right now for flipping.
What are those going for on here right now? I didn't even look. I know you.
Oh, they were really high. I thought, what are the chances they have some? But look, this one is already at 108. We got 103, 81.
I just looked at their website the other day where you can buy Jinkos now. Yeah. And they're very expensive now, I think. It's crazy.
Yeah, my son, when he was little, like that's all they used to wear. So I thought, man, too bad I didn't save all those jeans. Okay. So going on to the next one, this one is called Auction Ninja. Have you ever bought from them? I haven't yet.
This is all you.
Oh, yeah. Auction Ninja, I recently had heard of as I've been trying to find some of these auction sites. And this one was really interesting to me. You can find estate sales, and I love that. So you can pick your state. So let's see. I think this is the one where I was like, oh my gosh, no, it wasn't. There's none in Ohio. One of these sites I looked for me, and then I looked for you, and there was so much in your state. So right now they're not showing any auctions in my state. But Auction Ninja, let's see what they do have. Let's type in toys. Are there any toys on here? So look at 8 days, 3 hours. No one has even bid on that. Let's do ending soonest as far as toy lots go. Now, I don't know if we can sort it by state other than the way that I just did for auctions. We can see who the sellers are. So this also could possibly let you look up. I haven't dug that far into it, but if you figure out by choosing your states, if one of these sellers is in your state, you could possibly start sourcing from them even individually. I'm just guessing. So if I look up one of the zip codes here where I'm at, let's just see if any toys come up in my zip code. See, I wonder what states most of these are even in. I'm not sure how else to do it. We can see underneath here, we've got New Hampshire, Maine, Colorado, Pennsylvania. So certainly if any of these were your states, you could definitely narrow it down today. And this changes all the time. I've looked at this site a few times. So what I would love to know is figuring out how can we sort it by, like, I wish they would have off to the side what exact states it was in. And because I haven't bought from them yet, I don't know how to navigate it that well yet.
Go to where it says auctions. Hover over that. Hover over auctions. Just tap on it.
Yeah.
Okay. Select state.
11 up here in Washington State, around 28 in this area. The East Coast is a lot. So definitely look at all of this. So if you're like Rhode Island, Connecticut, all of these areas, there's a heck of a lot of auctions going on right now in that area. So I'm assuming that this is either always in these areas or it changes quite a bit, and that's just what it is right now. So this is definitely a website to look into. I swear there was a bunch in your area the last time I looked at this site, because I feel like this is the site that there was one for me in California. So this is a site to come back and check often. I like how they have them categorized. So let's see, this is some war auctions. I know a lot of this stuff does very well from this old military things. When I find old military things, I definitely grab them. So let's see what they also have the 18% buyer's premium. And this is common, and it's not too bad. It's really not too bad at the end. But like you say, you want to incorporate that into your cost. They do have instructions of what you have to do. It tells you who's the seller, where they're located, when you can pick up.
I'm curious how other people figure out what is their max bid, because like I have a calculation that I use, but I'm curious, for other people, like, do they want, what ROI basically, and how they do all that. So if anybody has any insight into that.
Yeah, that would be very interesting. Definitely drop a comment. And here's the top auction locations. So you can see if you're in any of these states, that may be desirable for you.
Very cool.
All right. So this next one, did I skip it? No, that was where we were. So we'll get rid of that one. And that one was Ninja, in case we didn't mention it, Auction Ninja. All right. So our next one is called MaxSold. MaxSold.com is another auction site. So look, it already knows where I am, even though it asked me if I wanted to block it or not. So all of these sites you will definitely want to register, especially if you see something you like. So when you do come back, it's easy to do that. So it looks like we are looking at auctions 125 miles of me. And so these look like they're mostly estate sales. This one looks interesting to me because of the silverware. And so let's see, we have live auctions on this site and then different categories, which I'm assuming this has got to change all the time. It looks like you can maybe sell on here. They do have their instruction with how it works, buying and selling. So if you're somebody who has a lot of things to sell, I think that's what first brought me to this site is I was looking for sites I could sell off a lot of my Amazon inventory at one time. I was thinking, well, maybe I can do that because one of the sites I used to use to sell off Amazon inventory that didn't sell well was called BoxFox. It was boxfox.co. They recently just sold their business. And now they've made a new business, but their format is not the same as it used to be. So that's what led me for looking for other auction sites. So if you're, as resellers, especially for Amazon, if you have brand new things, maybe this is the way to go. Or if you come up on a lot of really good vintage, that could be another route to go on this side. Let's do Ohio. Look at Ohio, New York. I'm just going to randomly pick that one.
There you go.
And then here's 2 auctions in a 400-mile radius of Idaho City. So you can type in your city, check, see what's going on, see what kind of things look interesting to bid on. If you sell big items and have the land to store it, there can be a lot of money in big items. So whatever your niche is, go looking on MaxSold for it for flips.
That looks tiring.
Yeah. Now, HiBid, I became aware of a while back. I've not bought on them yet, but didn't you say you have?
Yes. So here's what I do. Search HiBid. So up at the top there, type in comic book.
Comic book?
Sure. And then do auctions. See, I'm pointing at my screen right there where it says auctions. Click on that. And then over on the left-hand side where it says shipping available, turn that on. Okay. And then I will scroll. Hold on. What's the date on this one?
This says Saturday 10 a.m.
Go up again a little bit. Okay, where it says sort by best match, can you sort by ending soonest? No. Okay. Leave it at best match.
Maybe only this one. No, there's a few more. Okay.
Okay, so see where it says view, like where it says here, view 8 matches? Don't click on it yet. Mm-hmm. Okay, so right next to it says view catalog 300 lots, and there are 8 matches in this catalog that match the word comic book. And so if you keep scrolling, you'll see that. And I love to find like this is perfect. Okay. So it says view catalog 1,003 items, view 47 matches. So then if you click on view 47 matches, I already know they can
just pull the comic books in that lot.
Yes. Yep.
That's great. So I like that because this is clearly an auction that has over 1,000 items. But I'm only looking for comic books because I'm a comic book flipper. Comic books is my jam. And I don't want to have to sort through all 1,030 or whatever it was of the items to find the comic books. So it's cool for me that and making my life easier. That's great. That's a really great tip.
So you can see here they have, so some auctions won't have like a minimum amount or like an exorbitant opening bid, but these ones do. So I'd go right back and keep looking at the list. And again, I take it one day at a time. So if I'm in the mood to shop an auction, I'll know it's that day. If I look too far ahead, I'll
Now,
be
where do you
like,
get the minimum buy cost?
minimum buy cost.
You say they had minimum opening. Oh, you mean a minimum opening bid on the item?
Yes. So they had some of those comics where it said like 160 to start bidding, things like that.
So it says high bid 0 because no one's bidding on it. Is this what they're estimating the value to be, the 384 to 480?
Yes, you can disregard all of that right there. And then there it is.
The opening bid is at 160.
Right.
Okay. I ran into that on the Nellis auction where I have been shopping. Nellis auction has the pickups like I've been doing, but they also have mixed into their website estate sales. And I found this jewelry, I don't know where they're getting the jewelry from. It wasn't an estate sale. It was some jeweler. And they had all of this jewelry, like rings valued at 7,000 and, 300, and they're all at 0. Now on Nellis auction, everything is in dollar. Like the first bid starts at $1, increments go up at $1 at a time. And I was like, oh my God, look at this ring is 7,000 and no one's bidding on it. I got all excited. I'm like, I'll put $1 on it. And then when I clicked on it, the opening bid on that ring was $1,700. So, now, of course, it wasn't Nellis auction, but it was one of these others. So I quickly became aware of that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So if you like to niche down into stuff like I do, that's how I like to do this. You can also search by distance. So if we type in something, right, and then put in your zip code. And then, yeah, whatever distance you're willing to do. And see how it always defaults to lots there?
Do 250 so we can get more stuff. So these, you mean up here?
No, go up a little bit.
Up higher?
Yeah, so
lots.
Yeah, so it does the lots, but I always like to look at like auctions.
Okay.
Like as opposed to buying like one thing from one auction house, one from another, I like to find an auction with a lot of what I want.
Okay, and so then they have over different items, but they have one match for jeans. So very good. And this Sunny Transitions is a company here for estate sales after someone has passed. So see, here's this fine jewelry and import. This is probably very similar to what I was talking about with the jewelry, where I was like, oh my gosh, no one's bidding on it.
Right.
Okay. And it's interesting because, this is an auction house here. So they're on HiBid, but I could also go to clarkcountypublicauction.com because they have their own website. And that's what I'm saying. These auction sites can be a treasure trove of narrowing it down to like, okay, well, this company, let me paste it in the search engine and let's just go there and see what's going on. And then if you win an auction and you go in there and you start making your name known to whoever you're picking up with at some of these places, you can really be making relationships.
That's a great point too. So like if you were to click on that, oftentimes in their terms or their information, they'll say like right there, it says their website is lasvegasauction.com. Mm-hmm. And then oftentimes, well, I can't say often, but sometimes the premium is less if you're bidding on their site as opposed to on HiBid.
Oh, because HiBid needs to get their commission. That's a really good tip.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's go to their website and let's see the difference. Okay, so what is it over here? It was 18%, I want to say. Wasn't it on one of the others?
Go to auction details and it'll tell us for sure. And that's a blue bar. So scroll down a little bit right under the picture.
Right. Oh, auction details. Okay. So auction details. And are you seeing it yet up here? Is it going to be down lower?
It's going to be down lower. So 15. It's at 15.
All right. So let's see what it is if you are doing it on their site. So weekly public estate sale auctions, online bidding only, preview online catalog. So I'm not sure if we can.
I don't know if they allow bidding on their particular site, but a lot of auction houses do.
See, it took us right here to HiBid. See that Las Vegas auction
Yes.
HiBid? So it took us right there. And so I think it's just going to be the same. But that may not be true for all of the sites. So that was just a theory. Okay. So now this is a website that you told me about right before we went live called Invaluable. So I've never heard of this one until today.
Yeah, so it works a lot like Proxibid and HiBid. It seems to have more higher end items than the others. I noticed a lot of artwork and high end jewelry and stuff. But some of the auction houses I worked with also auction on this site.
Now, I wonder if this is one that lets us sell. And the reason why I ask is because sometimes when people are out thrifting, because I've watched people's thrifting, videos, they will come across like some high-end artwork or something like that where you feel like you really wanted appraised and maybe you're scared to sell something of such high value on eBay. That's where I think a site like this would be nice if they take, if they allow us to sell on it.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to see maybe down at the bottom of the page if it has like register to sell, subscriptions, live chat, sell. So, possibly that could be an option to look into on this website. And now if you like the high-end flips, then I guess this is the site to go to for doing high-end items. So when I think high-end as far like, what about a Chanel? So they do have something like that on here.
Yeah.
$100 for this bracelet. Okay. Or you're just wanting to get a Chanel bag. All right. Hey, Casey.
So anyone
chat now. Yeah. I wasn't looking at the chat while I was flipping through those websites. You could just be online all day shopping some auctions. I mean, you can really go down a rabbit hole, and that's what I like about you is you definitely have your niche. So for you, it's a little bit simple because it's like bam, bam, bam. I'm going on this site and typing in my thing, my comic book, because that's what I do is comic books, right? So I'm kind of an everything all over the place seller. Because I haven't really honed in on something that it's like, this is my sweet spot. Like, I'm just going to go for Janko jeans all day long, No,
that's how you start.
Yeah.
Yeah, you start that way. You try everything and you figure out what you love. And you either continue just selling everything, which is fine, or you niche down into, what you love.
Yeah, I will say Life After Amazon doing, I call it Life After Amazon now, doing eBay stuff. Recently, our sales have been really picking up on eBay. It was a slow start, after a full month, it's really picked up momentum. I will say that this last week, most of our average tickets were $50. And most of those finds were my husband's, not mine. So I love that he looks at different things than me, things that I would pass right by. Like we were at the bins and I love that because we're two people at the bins, right? We're both in different bins at different times, looking at different things. Sometimes we're right by each other because one of us has gone to the others to say, oh, look, I found this thing, see if you can find this brand or, keep your eye out for this. I looked it up. It was good. So I'm like scrolling through this bin at the same time as him, and he picks up this thing. He goes, wait a minute. Well, it was one of those police radar detector things. And I wouldn't have even known what it was. To me, it was just a plastic thing in there. I don't know what that is. So we picked it up and we bought it and we sold it for $50. And it took less than a month to sell. And I would have just totally overlooked that because I didn't know what it was. Likewise, when we're looking in the clothing, I'm looking at some like girl labels that I know. And, him being a guy, he's looking at the sports jersey and, guy stuff that he's naturally attracted to. And so I picked a couple of dresses up yesterday when we went to the bins that are going to sell for about $30 each. And I I'm going to guess they were a pound each on the scale. I don't know how much a dress weighs, but it's $1.89 a pound at the bins, and they're going to flip for 30. He found some fire retardant blankets, and we got those, all of them. There were 3 or 4 in the deal. And if things are pretty heavy, they'll let you pay for that on the side and not pay by the pound. They'll knock the price down. So we got all of them for $2.99, and they sell for $20 each on eBay. So that was a really good flip. I found the pool filters. They were brand new from Amazon. They were still wrapped in the cellophane, haven't been used, brand spanking new. And I just knew they would be good because they were pool filters, and they are currently on Amazon, and they sell for $60 on Amazon, and they're going for roughly $30 on eBay. So, I'm just grabbing things that I think have value, and we're going from there. Then I have friends, Nate and Elizabeth. Nate is often in the Friday morning chats. He watches the Friday show. They live here locally. So we have been comparing labels and ideas of things we share. It's out in my car, but I would have showed it to you on screen. She did such a genius thing. So as I'm trying to learn some clothing labels that are not the most talked about, that a lot of people might pass up, we've been learning some new labels. And so we took pictures of what that label tag looks like. If it was, say, the Janko jeans, and you didn't know that. So rather than write it down, have a screenshot of what that label looks like. You can take it off of a current eBay listing. She uploaded them into Canva, and put them all in one photo. So it's just like a collage of labels, and then sent me the PDF file. And so I printed it out. And so now I have this little cheat sheet where one sheet has, 20 different label names to be looking out for. And then it has their logo and that visual, because I'm more of a visual person. If I know their logo looks this way and has a bird on it or has a trophy or whatever it is, when I'm quickly going through clothing, it's like, oh, that's the label. Let me look this. So, there's so many tricks and things that you can do to try to find what's going to make you be more efficient when you're shopping. And then once you really get knowing prices that you should be paying and what they sell for, it gets to be where you're less on your phone looking things up when you're in the store. You just kind of automatically know.
Yep. Yeah. You have that cheat sheet, and one day you won't need it.
That's right. But since I feel I at least have a leg up on a brand new eBay seller, because I did eBay for a long time, but I stepped away from eBay for many years because Amazon really took over. So going back into eBay, there's a lot of things I already just know. I know brand new things because of Amazon. And so I'm already bringing the knowledge of what I have as I'm learning more knowledge and now new ways of sourcing. I used to only do Savers and Goodwill and yard sales and estate sales before Amazon. Now, after Amazon, I'm really opening up my opportunities to these online auctions. And I never even knew they existed before, or I'd heard about it and didn't care. But like a lot of us during COVID, for Amazon is when I really fell in love with online arbitrage, right? We were home, we could online arbitrage. And now I love the idea of online arbitrage for eBay. I love that. So essentially that's what online auction shopping is. It's a way for eBay.
Yep. It's very nice for us during the school year. Summer, we try to travel as much as possible and get out and do things, but it's so nice to have free boxes and free packaging, and the stuff just shows up every day, literally. Yeah.
Okay, so I got my car keys here. So I even bought for myself, and it's on my key ring, the little light. So when we're out, I'm sourcing, I can test the glass for the uranium. So I got
nice.
The purple light for all of us. And I bought these on Amazon. There was like a pack of, to buy one of these on eBay, I want to say was $8. And on Amazon, you can buy I think it was a pack of 6 for $12. So you could buy and keep the few that you want and flip the rest on eBay for chump change if you want. But I thought my husband can now have one. My mom can have one. I have one. So yeah, so when we're out, we can go testing the glass and see if it glows green, and you'll always have it on you.
Nice. So auction sites are great. And then one of the things that we did a couple years ago was we checked out a local auction house that just does consignments. And we've made some really great friends there, and I've gotten really good tips from them. And a lot of the people there typically sell at flea markets and stuff, but it's so nice to expand your community and everything, and just the knowledge that you share with people or they share with you and everything. And there's a lot of benefits to that.
Absolutely. In fact, when I talk to people when I'm outsourcing at even the bins and things, I'll just chat with whoever's there and I'll learn from them, and hopefully they learn something from me and take a nugget away. I mean, you have to be open-minded to talking to others. And so when I was at the bins, I was talking to this gentleman, and then another girl was talking, 3 of us are digging and talking. And she says, oh, she found this little baby Ugg, and we were in the shoe bin together. And she's like, oh, if you see this other baby Ugg, will you hand it to me? And so now we're both looking for the baby Ugg. And she says, stuff like this. She says, sometimes I will flip them on eBay. She goes, other times, she goes, I like to take big bags of really good finds like this to Plato's Closet. She says, sometimes it's worth it for me to flip it there so I can get some quick cash capital back for buying more for my eBay business. So that was one of her things that she likes to do. And the gentleman I was talking to, all he does is whatnot. He goes to the bins every single day like it's his full-time job. He's there 6-7 hours a day. And then he goes home and he does his whatnot show. And this is what he does every day. Like, that's his job. And he says he used to do eBay. He says, for the last year, all I do is whatnot. And that's all he does. And
so does he typically move it all in the same day?
He doesn't move it all in the same day, no. And so I think then what he does is maybe what he didn't sell at a couple shows ago, he'll re-put it into a different show, because you never know who's watching. And, right. When you're selling on whatnot, you're buying from the bins. It's just like when you're doing eBay. It's not like all my clothes fit, ladies who are size 7. So, maybe you have some size 7, some size 12, some size 10 of different ladies' clothes. It depends who your audience is right now when you're live. If I'm a size 7 girl and I'm watching your show and you're showing a lot of size 10 girls, I'm not going to be able to buy your thing, right? And right. Maybe the next time I watch you, it's like, oh yeah, you've got a lot of these size 7s today, and I love that. So I think I'm just guessing from whatnot shows I've watched, because I haven't done it yet. Is who's watching you right then and there. Especially when you're everything clothes seller in all the sizes. Now, if you have a niche and all you're selling is the green glowy glass, then you're going to build an audience for people that want to buy that glass. So that's where having a niche and kind of being a mixture of everything. If it's all clothes, or even if you sell all toys, I might have plush and board games and puzzles, and it depends who's watching you. I think it's harder to be a niche seller on whatnot unless you have a great resource for buying all those comic books. And I go and I'm always sourcing comic books. I'm buying big lots of comic books. I'm going on the auction sites and I'm just sourcing comic books. Then I think you can really build a following, for that audience. Otherwise, most of us, I think, are a little bit of everything sellers. That's what I think.
Yeah. So I have a show tonight at 8. Let me see how many saves I have on it. Once I started taking it very seriously, I have 69 saves on my show tonight. They just know that I'm going to have what I have, and they want to see it. And it's been a few weeks. But it very much depends on what you have and who's in your show. And it has actually, I've never really experienced the summer slowdown that people talk about, but on Whatnot, in the last few weeks, I've kind of seen that a bit. Like when I in passing, I'm looking at my niche and looking at how many people they have in their show. I'm like, oh, it's kind of low right now. So I don't know if it's that, last end of summer and everybody's trying to get in, fun family time or what it is, but
up with Christmas time coming. But see, for those watching, Nicole has her niche on Whatnot. She sells like the comic books as an example. So she's built a following. She's been doing it consistently. So they're following her and they're watching her because they like, the type of item that she sells. So that's her success story. And I think we can all find our own success stories in there. I've seen this girl on Whatnot. I follow her now. Her name is Emmy Lou. I don't know if it was anything else after Emmy Lou, but what intrigues me about her, I find her personality fun to watch, but she is doing her show right at the Goodwill bins in whatever state she lives at. Now, here in Las Vegas, they do not allow you to film in the Goodwill bins. They will stop you, so you're not allowed to do it. But this girl, she goes shopping at the bin. She gathers her stuff. She has it in her cart. You can tell she's standing off in the corner in the bins. She's showing it right there in the bins. And, so she either sells it and keeps it in the cart or tosses it back in the bin. And I love it. She hasn't even bought it yet. And she's selling it live. I'm like, this is genius.
Yes, that's when I thought of you and like doing Whatnot, I was like, it's too bad they won't let you record in there. Cause like Saturday, we're going to go to a toy show and everybody knows we're going to go live there and we sell it before we've bought it. And it is genius. And oftentimes
like it's
not
well, you have already paid me for it. So it's like, It's already yours. So let me go buy it now. Thank you. Because
right.
I profited $10 or whatever it is. Yeah.
Right. Well, and it's so interesting. It's a very transparent thing because they can see what I can say this person's asking $5 for it. And then I will run it for 10 or 12 or whatever, depending on what it is.
And the people know $5 and they're still happy to pay 20.
Correct. Right. They've agreed.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And then oftentimes once we've shopped a whole table and we've stood at a table for 2 hours before and sold from it because there were so many buyers for those items.
Doesn't care that you're doing that.
Like no, they all love it. Yeah. I haven't had anybody yet.
What happens? Okay. So let's say you're at that table and you're showing your fans like, look, I've got the best purple pen that you ever saw in the whole wide world. And then now I'm a shopper at this person's table. And so does a shopper ever like grab the thing that like they're like, oh, I want to see that pen? And, it's like, what happens with other shoppers there and you doing that?
I'm very respectful to other people because especially if I'm standing in one place for a while, I will move out of people's way. I oftentimes will hold on to something if I'm running it. And or we're looking at it. So nobody typically is like grabbing it out of my hand. So now that you've mentioned it, it's going to happen.
I just like, or you were like, oh, I was about to show that to somebody.
Yeah, now that you've said that, it's going to happen. It'll probably happen Saturday. But then once I run it, I typically will say, is it okay if I make a pile? And I'll hand it to the dealer and we'll keep track of the cost of it. And then oftentimes too, what happens because I make such a pile at someone's table, they will give us an even better deal. And I let Shannon negotiate that. So I will say my total should be 300 and he knows to try to get it for 2 or 250 or something.
I love it. So your shirt, every time you lean back, I notice you have on the Babysitter Club shirt. You always have the best t-shirts. Like I've been working all day long looking like a ragamuffin. So before we went live, I put on my sparkly top that I got out of Salvation Army bins, by the way. This top probably cost me $1. And then I put on fun earrings. So it looks like I'm fancy, huh?
You do look fancy. You look beautiful.
This is so funny. And Brian, I don't know if you are still here with us in the chat or not. Brian, along with Millennial Money Mom, who's not in the chat today, between the two of them and their tips and everything, after me trying to get into Walmart Marketplace, I forgot the year that I tried to sign it. I want to say it was 8 years ago. It was when they first opened up and people were just getting into Walmart. And I've told the story many times, of how I put in the wrong EIN number. And so like it just fell off the radar. And after that, I swear I was blacklisted. I've not been able to get in for years. So between Ryan jumping in to help me, Millennial Money Mom sending me some stuff, it took less than a week and I am in and approved to sell on Walmart. So I am now in the Walmart club for selling on Walmart Marketplace. So I know it's
awesome.
Not as easy as other sites because everyone says they're still in their infancy phase. And I feel like, Walmart for at least 8 years has had third-party sellers. Why are they still struggling with getting up to date? I do know now you can ship into Walmart. But I think really Walmart, you need to get it together. I mean, 8 years seems to be a long time for you to be wonky still.
So did you fill out that form that you were asking me about?
I did. And yeah, my account's up and active. I can create listings. I'm in. I even have my first meeting with them. I could make it for tomorrow or next Wednesday, since this week is incredibly busy because I am shipping out a ton of stuff for some friends into their Amazon seller accounts, and then listing on my own. I'm just too slammed this week. So next Wednesday, I have my intro call, if you will, with Walmart, with, I'm going to call it a Walmart coach to help me get that set up.
They keep sending me this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like all these promos. It's like 10% off to start selling, 15% off per fulfilled item, per advertised item, per repriced item. Plus get added discounts, like 50% off inventory prep, storage fees, and 25% off fulfillment fees. So they are really marketing to.
I really think they're changing things up a lot now with their shipping, and now, like you say, that I think they're going to be changing up the game. So I'm thrilled. And my suppliers that I dealt with on Amazon, a great many of them I've already reached out to asking if I can still buy from them and continue to sell on Walmart. And seems to be no problem. So
awesome.
I guess with that, we can end our show. So for those of you who hung out with us, thank you. And if you end up doing some online auction shopping for your eBay stores, let me know. Let me know how it works out. I'm enjoying it. I've only been buying on one auction site so far, but I'm excited to start jumping into more of them. And Nicole, you already got this. So
have a good night, everyone.
Bye. Yeah, so